I'm here today to tell the story of the greatest thief of all time and the possible birth of another. While this is a story about myself, it is not a fishing expedition for fame or glory. Technically, someone else got all the credit anyways. I just wanted to tell the story of my most satisfying job. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Barbie J. Wolfing. Most people call me Wolf for short. I would like to think of myself as a noble thief, but I wouldn't say such things with confidence. I have stolen from the rich for many years, and thanks to that, I lived a reasonably lavish life. The way I usually take on jobs is via request. I'm most often sought after when someone feels slighted or wronged, and this is their way of getting payback. Honestly, I don't care much about the reason I'm reached out to. I only care if the target piques my interest in any way. I'm not entirely heartless. I do give a finder's fee to the one that made the request once the job is done. Side note, I've never, ever failed at finishing a job. That brings me to this job. I was sent an anonymous request in the form of a letter asking me to come help a town I've never heard of. They started by saying there were 3 targets, and I couldn't help but be fascinated. It then blathered on about why I was being requested, but I usually skip past this part because people can be very subjective in their feelings, and I'm not in the business of saying who's right and who's wrong. While it never directly stated who the targets were, it did note that once I come to the village, the prey would be clear as day. I just have to look for the 3 houses that stand out the most. Realizing it was a job for 3 different hits versus 1 hit with 3 people, I was hooked. Then, using the map provided with the letter, I made my way to the town. Traveling through a thicket of trees in practically dead silence, I almost thought I was going to the wrong place. But once I hit the town's limits, everything changed. The location was livelier than I've ever seen anything before. There were people of all ages dancing and singing about. It seemed like it was a festival of sorts. After being caught up in the moment, I was able to give a good look around. In what seemed to be the center of the town stood a rather tall hill, and on that hill sat 3 houses of different colors. So I thought to myself, I found my marks. My standard ritual for heists is set up, stake out, do the job, get the finder's fee to the requester, and lastly, leave without so much of a speck of me left behind. Sticking to that, I found a bed and breakfast to act as my temporary headquarters. Leaving my things there, I decided it would be best to check out the town. The town's energy was blinding. Things didn't seem to slow down at all since I got there. That is, until sunset. Once it grew darker, everyone disappeared without so much of a word to each other. Finding it strange, I just left it alone. For the next few days, I did my proper staking of the targets. But what I found most interesting was that the town was merry every day like when I first arrived. However, every day like clockwork, when the sun set, the townspeople would be gone. This last day before I started my plan, I came across a boy running home as the sun was setting. It caught me by surprise when I heard him yell out, "You stupid pigs!" I was able to stop him to inquire who he was talking to. He merely pointed at the house atop the hill and said, "That's what my parents call them," as he ran off. Finding the request, once I got back to my temporary base, I reread it mindfully this time. It stated that the targets came in recently with lots of money and used it to create a curfew, among other things that negatively affected the town and some individuals. Understandably, most of the townsfolk were fed up with them. The next day after the sun went down and everyone was in their homes, it was time for me to make my first move. Every night, the first pig, as the boy called him, would leave around the same time to go on a bit of a pub crawl. This was going to be my opportunity to get into the house. During my surveillance, I noticed that the walls were pretty thin, but being up close for the first time, I understood thin might have been an understatement. If not for its vast size, I would normally call such a thing a hut, seeing that the walls were made of intertwined straw. I pulled out my miniature saw and used it to create a doorway on the side of the house. Quickly making my way through each room looking for a safe, I got a good feel of the layout of the place. Getting to the last room, I finally hit the jackpot. This final room appeared to be an office, and in the corner sat a safe, that was made of the same straw as the house itself. Of course, I made easy work of it with my saw, splitting it right in half. Flooding out came money and jewels of all shapes, sizes, and colors. I quickly gathered everything from the safe. Then, without hesitation, I made myself another door that led me outside and went back to the bed and breakfast with anticipation for the next hit.